right now, a part of another record hit, Wendy Bagwell and the Sunliters. Come on!
Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you. Now you see why we wanted to record this album at Langdale in the Valley, don't you? See? Yeah, I like that noise. You know, in a way, I kind of hate to be brought on by a fella like Don Butler. The first time we ever come on a radio program in our lives, quite a few years ago now, Don Butler was the fella that brought us on the very first time. And he had that big old full rich voice, you know. And we recorded our radio program to be played back on Saturdays so I could go home and listen to it, you know, on the radio. And I was tickled to death waiting for that first program to come on, you know. All at once, here come that big, beautiful, heavy, booming voice. Now here they are, folks, Wendy Bagwell and the Sunliters. And here I come. Hey, how y'all? I told my wife, I said, there ain't no way I'll ever cut another radio program. And she said, well, if you'll just polish up the way you talk, you'll be all right. Said, just be a little more careful. And now that was about 15 years ago. Here not too long ago, we were on with Ralph Emery over at WSM on his all-night program, kind of co-hosting with him, you know. And he allowed the people to call in and ask us questions about the rattlesnake story and all this. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, my wife called me up. She said, he's talking better than you are. I said, he ain't talking as much, is he? So tonight you may not get a whole lot of quality, but honey, you're going to get a mess of quantity, I'll tell you that.
Jesus promised anything we ask believing that the Father up in heaven would apply. So I asked with hope that soon I'd be receiving, and my list went not unnoticed in God's eyes. Well, the answer did not come the way I thought it would, though I asked it every bit in Jesus' name.
My God
answered me in a way I knew as best he should, but I praise him for he answered just the same. God's word tells us we have not because we ask not. So if we expect an answer, ask we must. But the same word says we ask and then receive not. For we wanted to consume upon our Lord. Well, the answer did not come the way I thought it would, though I ask every day in Jesus' name. God answered me the way he knew as best he should, but I praise him for he answered just the same. Just the same.
Thank you. Now I'll tell you what. I know a lot of you never have met the girls, and I'd like for you to meet everybody. In case we ever get to come back, at least you'll know who we are. Most of our mail on television around the country is folks wanting to know what kin we are. You'd be surprised how curious people are about a mixed group, and I'd like to straighten it all out for you if I could. I don't have to tell you I'm the youngest of the group. You can see that, can't you? Would you come up here where everybody can see you real good? You know, it's a wonderful thing to be pretty, to have a beautiful face and a head full of pretty hair. That's a wonderful thing. To have a mouth full of pretty shiny white teeth and a gorgeous complexion, that's a wonderful thing. It's just wonderful to have rare beauty. But I want you folks to know one thing. I didn't get that way overnight. This little gal right here, this little gal right here is an aunt of mine. She helped raise me. I love her very much. She's the grinning one in our bunch. She grins all the time. I've never seen her when she was. The only person in the world that outgrins little Jan is Alphys Lefevre. And we think his is painted on, you know. I hope you'll make her welcome. She's our bass-picking, heart-blowing, piano-playing, alto singer, Little Jan. How about it? Well, every group has one elderly one. Here's our old one. She's the loud one in our bunch. She's the reason I'm deaf on the right side. I hope you'll give a good hand to old leather lungs, Jerry Martin. Thank you. Bill Mack wrote a song that I think is so pretty, and we're just so glad to get to sing it for you tonight. It's called Clinging to a Saving Hand. Listen to it.
Sing me a song of praise and glory. Help this wandering child to understand. And when I close my eyes in sleep eternal, I'll be clinging to a saving hand. Come on and sing me about the rock of ages. Sing about eternity so sweet. And when I close my eyes in sleep eternal, I'll wake on at my Savior's feet. Tell me about Paul and Matthew, and sing about our dear Savior's birth, and tell about his trials and tribulations, how he walked upon even earth. Come on and sing me a song of praise and glory.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, it wouldn't even be fairly normal to cut a new album if we didn't say something about them rattlesnakes. You know, we've been enjoying the way that thing's been selling and all, and you know, for a long time nobody bothered us about it. You know, folks would come say want to hear about the snakes, and everything just went along so smooth. And then all at once that thing kind of barnstormed, you know, and it started making us a national hit, and it got into such a big seller that every now and then we'd get in an auditorium and somebody'd get on me about that thing. And I didn't hardly know what to say, you know, and some of them would get on me and try to say I was making fun, and I'd try to explain to them that we wasn't making fun of the people in that church handling them rattlesnakes, that we wasn't making fun of anybody but us. Them folks in that church is all in the spirit. We was the only ones scared. Well, I had this one lady come up to me, boy, in an auditorium, and she just got all over me. You couldn't believe it. And I explained it to her, and she said, all right, I'll accept that. She said, but do you claim that story to be the truth? And I said, now, ma'am, that story is the truth. And she said, well, I can make a liar out of you right now. And I said, and as I looked down in her beady little eyes, I felt like she could. She said, well, what about that 27-foot-long rattlesnake? I said, what about it? She said, I'll tell you what about it. She said, there ain't no such thing as a 27-foot-long rattlesnake. Now, what do you think of that? I said there was in this church. She said, now I want to tell you one thing. She said, I looked it up in the book, and she said there ain't no such thing as a 27-foot-long rattlesnake. And if you say there is, you are an unmitigated liar. Well, I don't know what an unmitigated liar is, but I do know that it's worse than just a plain everyday liar. She said, now, you have not seen a 27-foot-long rattlesnake. And she said, if you have, tell me how. And I said, the part I saw and the part I thought I saw. You know, I had this one lady come up to me, and this is a fact what I'm telling you. I had this lady come up to me, and she said, I don't believe all them stories in that this, that, and other album, that rattlesnake album. Said, I don't believe all them stories. And that said, do you really mean that all those different things happened to y'all? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, we've been traveling for 15 years. We've done one-nighters all over the world, all over Europe, all over this country. I said, you can't imagine what all will happen in 15 years of picking and singing. She said, well, how come it don't happen to all them other groups? I said, well, it does. They just got more sense than to get out on the stage and tell about it. Now, let me tell you something. And this is a fact. You remember just a few weeks back, you remember when we were having all the storms across the center of the country, the tornadoes. We had some folks killed in them. They were that bad. Now, this is a fact, what I'm going to tell you. This is a few weeks ago. We left Springfield, Missouri, heading for Greensboro, North Carolina. That's where we were the next night, see. That's the way our agency books us. They take a world map and lay a yardstick down on it, see. And if it'll reach, we can make it, you know. We took off across the center of the country and got right in the middle of those bad storms. I've never seen anything like it. While we were scared to death. The wind we had just blown the motor up in our bus the week before, and we was in the car and pulling a little old trailer, that little old trailer cutting up, and it just got so bad. And in order to make this next date, we had to keep going. There was no stopping. We got to Harriman, Tennessee, and that was as far as we could get. The wind and rain was so bad we couldn't even see the line in the center of the road. We were running off. So we spotted a motel there, and we ran into this motel. And I told her, I was even afraid for us to get out of the car. It was that bad. And I told the girls, I said, now girls, get out and go just as fast as you can for that motel and get in there quick. Everybody opened the door and jumped out. All at once I looked, and there went Geraldine's head across the parking lot. I thought the wind had blown her head off. She went tearing out across there chasing that old wig. She looked like a cow running on an asphalt road with a tar top. She held that old wig up in a puddle of water, snatched that thing up, me scared to death, afraid any minute she was going to be blown into oblivion. She had one thing to say. It's burnt. And it was. All right, folks, here's a song. Here's a song I wrote myself, and I don't know if you folks knew that I was a songwriter or not. But I am. I write songs. You ever heard of How Great Thou Art? This Old House, My God Is Real. I didn't write them, but I would if I'd have thought of it, I'll tell you that. Them good ones. But you know, a lot of folks think that we're crazy. A lot of folks think we're crazy because we sing these gospel songs. And I'll tell you what, you know, to a lot of people, if you go to church over 3 times a year, you're a fanatic. But you take fellas like old Joshua and Ezekiel, they must have really thought they were crazy in the way they serve the Lord. So I wrote a song called It's Another One of Those Crazy Ways That People Serve the Lord. Well, it's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. Another one of those crazy ways they say. It's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. But I want to keep on serving Him every single day. A lot of people knock us in the way we serve the Lord, saying something has gone haywire in our minds. But you see them out of ball game when their team begins to win, and those same folks will outshout you every single time. When the Lord sent Ezekiel to the valley of the bones, all the people must have surely put him down. They thought that he was crazy as he began to preach, but all at once them bones got up, walked around. Well, it's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. Another one of those crazy ways they say. It's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. But I want to keep on serving Him every single day. When God sent old Joshua to the wall of Jericho, He sent him with a ram horn, that was all. And the people thought he'd lost his mind as he blew his mighty horn, but all at once that big old wall began to fall. There's a preacher preaching on the street beware the end of time. And a lot of people laugh at such a sight. But old Noah preached that same way a long, long time ago. They laughed at him, but it turned out Noah was right. Well, it's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. Another one of those crazy ways they say. It's another one of those crazy ways that people serve the Lord. But I'm going to keep on serving Him every single day. Going to keep on serving Him every single day. Keep on serving Him every single day.